Welcome to Sustainable Futures with Daniela Bas on the first and the third Saturday every month at 10 a.m. Chess time. Join me for in-depth conversations, exclusive interviews, and strategic insights with industry leaders, policymakers, and innovators shaping our future. We'll explore how integrating social fairness enhances business and impacts sectors like fashion, food, tech, tourism, sports, and more towards a sustainable social change. Every organization gets stronger by challenging itself, so do we. I know it from my own life experience as a woman with a disability who understands the power of resilience, communication, and of thinking out of the box, and as a female executive leader at global level on social sustainability and inclusion. Be inspired, learn, and gain insights. Tune in, think different, and act with purpose. I am thrilled to have as a guest Maya Monroe, just recently acknowledged in SAT magazine among the 100 remarkable women in sports. Welcome, Maya.
Thank you so much, Daniela. I really appreciate you having me on. Most definitely.
Thank you. So, Maya, you were born in New York City, from what I understood, but you can correct me.
Yes.
You yourself are a very important, famous, remarkable woman,
Thank you.
particularly when it comes to sports and your passion about supporting countries or people who are facing challenging situations. I know you're very committed about promoting sports among young people in Africa, for instance. However, you are also the daughter of a very famous basketball player. But before that, I would like to say that you are a former Georgia Tech based
Yeah.
basketball player, partner in MYND Drinks. And this is
Yes.
the only CBD beverage certified by US sports leagues. Am I correct?
We are one of the only, or the only beverage currently NSF certified, which means it's allowed to be drank by professional athletes across the major sports leagues without risking failing any kind of drug test or anything like that because we have no THC,
Oh,
only anti inflammatory hemp components in us.
well, in July and August, as you know, the Olympics and the Paralympics are taking place in Paris. Who knows if the athletes from the United States are drinking this drink? I'm curious to know. You let me
Well, I mean,
know.
I hope
Uh,
so. I hope so. We're kind of a new brand here, so we haven't had the opportunity to get into the hands of many of the current athletes as yet. But that's something that's definitely on the horizon for the end of 2024, moving into 2025. We're currently partnered with the Brooklyn Nets and the Chicago Cubs, as well as the New York Liberty. So they've tasted it, but I don't know if they took it to Paris with them.
well, this is a big project. We always have to start with one step and then step after other step. Things happen. You know that your mother is also a law graduate and the first generation American who worked also for Shirley
Shirley
Chisholm.
Chisholm, yeah.
Again, help me with the pronunciation.
Shirley Chisholm, who
Uh,
was the first
uh,
African American to run for the presidency, which is actually kind of, we're in a good moment here because we are headstrong into supporting and hopefully getting elected the first African woman, American woman to be president in the next few months here.
Yes, yeah, it's a very special time in the United States now. I will also devote one day an episode conversing with the students about the meaning of democracy, at least as it is defined by the United Nations. As you know, I'm a former executive in the UN, so it's going to be interesting. And then coming back to you, though, your father is a member of the 1973 world champion New York Knicks, right? And he founded
Yes.
the Earl Monroe New Renaissance Basketball School. So this is amazing. Uh, And then about you, besides media sports, I know that you're also passionate, as I said, about development, entertainment, and youth education, right? Not only in the area, but also in Africa. For the benefit of our audience, let's give us a quick description of how we physically look. So, do you want to start?
Well, obviously, I'm African American. I'm 6'2". Uh, Other than that, I stand tall. I'm very opinionated, and just really, really, really love everything about sports inclusion. And meeting you has been such a blessing, and you've taught me so much about other aspects of inclusion that I didn't even put into the equation originally. But you know, just a 6'2" girl from New York City.
And you have long hair and a beautiful pair of earrings and the gorgeous smile. Now,
Thank
as for
you.
me, well, my audience somehow knows me, but again, for those who never heard about this broadcast before, I have short hair. I'm in my early 60s. I'm wearing a Hawaiian shirt today, white with the bright colors of beautiful flowers, and I'm wearing glasses. So, Maya, we recently met in New York, actually, and I really found fascinating the story of your family. I just mentioned a few things, and I know that you're carry on something similar, of course, based on who you are and your style, and you are doing that with so much determination. Can you share with us a tidbit of your story before I ask you a few questions?
Raised
Who
here in New
is
York
Maya?
City. So yeah, I was born here and raised here in New York City. Like you said, I come from, I guess, a basketball kind of family, but more so than that, a family that has always given back and given back to the community, whether it's been through sports, education. In addition to my parents and the things that they've done, I have an uncle that has run a youth development program in Brooklyn for over 50 years. And we've always just been involved. My mother is from Honduras, like you said, first generation raised here, and probably every single immigrant from Honduras in New York City probably came through my grandmother's house. So I've always just given back is something that's always just been instilled in me, and I'll be honest, I kind of fluttered around a little bit in my career path and kind of finding what my niche was or was to be. And I've really kind of found that in using sports as a tool to help develop not only communities, cultures, and countries as well, because it blends two of the things that I love doing most, which is helping people and sports. So,
So, Maya, this triggers in me lots of questions and curiosity.
yes.
So you mentioned, social issues and fairness, and this is one of the things I like a lot. It addresses also sustainability. So, with your extensive work in both youth education and development, Maya, how do you envision the future of integrating sports and entertainment to promote the social sustainability and also community empowerment, particularly when it comes to undeserved areas?
That's a great question. Thanks. So when I think about, of course, sports and entertainment and what we call now influencers and things of that nature, they have such a strong power to unite people and inspire. Unfortunately, many of the young people in uh, the world today, or especially in the U.S. here in minority communities, they might not know who Kizzy Corbett is, who was one of the lead developers, African American women of the COVID vaccine. But they do know who Cardi B is. So Cardi B,
Hmm.
as a rapper and an entertainer, she has a unique ability to reach kids and speak to them in a way that they listen and understand, and it's not so boring. So sports and entertainment, especially this year, and especially in women's sports, has seen a great jump. There's still a lot of work to be done, but I think the future of it lies in diversification. So, teaching athletes and entertainers that they don't have to pigeonhole themselves into one area. Because you play basketball does not mean that you can only support or advocate for sports causes. You should find other causes that speak to you, speak to your community, and lend your voice to them. That's very powerful. And can help a lot. And then the other thing is broadening what we consider inclusion, which is something I kind of touched on a little bit earlier. We
Yes.
kind of see it, and even I saw it as strictly a race or gender thing. But there's so many other different aspects of it. So really pushing for disability inclusion, not only in society. We have ADA compliances and things of that nature for buildings, but what about for corporations? Go. Do you have jobs that you can offer to people that might have physical disabilities and maybe even some mental disabilities,
Hmm.
depending on the severity of them? I think that's going to be a big, big, big area that sports and entertainment can delve into and that we haven't really delved into, especially here in the United States. I think that there's been some other countries that have really done or made great strides in trying to create equality for people with disabilities, and especially through mainstream social media and mainstream advocacy. But I think here in
Hmm.
America, kind of, it's still, I don't want to say it's taboo, but it's something that people don't want to talk about because they don't want to offend
Hmm.
or hurt somebody's feelings or make somebody feel uncomfortable. And um, through that, I think that'll really kind of also open up the doors for better inclusion of the disabled into everyday life and society and
Right.
things like that. So, I,
And
yeah,
then you're right. I mean, for our listeners who are not from the United States or might not be familiar, ADA is American Disability Act. You mentioned it earlier. Inclusion means persons with disabilities, but it also means older people. Inclusion is also related to gender biases and age biases, right?
yeah.
Ableism and so on and so forth.
Language into that as well. Making sure
Oh,
that
yeah.
our corporations are language accessible to everybody. We live in a melting pot. And so we have to include that as well. That's often a part of our ADA that is often not adhered to, and people don't really talk about that as well. So,
You make me very curious. I mentioned earlier on about this new Renaissance basketball school, and I wonder if you are playing there also a role. If you are there, if you're providing modules or training or education there too.
I unfortunately no, not at this point right now. They're still in their growing stages. This is their third year open, so I'll just give them a little bit of background. The Earl New Renaissance Basketball School is named after my dad. It's the first sports business charter school in the
Wow.
USA. So, if you want to be a kinesiologist or a dietitian or work in sports media or broadcast, those are the tracks. We don't use sports as a springboard for excellence. We use the academics of the business of sports to show kids
Hmm.
because everybody's not going to be an NBA player, NFL player, MLB player, but there are so many other
Hmm.
different avenues that kids are that children can be afforded. Adam Silva, who is the commissioner of the NBA, he one of his famous sayings or quotes that he uses, analogies, I guess, is one NBA player creates 100 jobs. So if you have one player,
Wow.
you have an agent, you have a trainer, you have a concession person. So in the totality. So for every one student that makes it, there will be 100 jobs for the rest.
Maya, of the Sustainable Development Goal 4, education, the Sustainable Development Goal 3, health, the Sustainable Development Goal 2, nutrition, and Sustainable Development Goal 8, employment, and the Sustainable Development Goal 10, reducing the gap of inequalities. So this is amazing. Um,
Absolutely.
and it's, this is another way of talking about fairness and equity. Maya, considering the disparities that still exist in sports and entertainment industries, do you think that the current efforts towards diversity and inclusion, since you mentioned them right now, are enough? Or is there a need for a more radical overhaul to achieve true fairness, in your view?
So the short answer is no. I don't think that they're enough. So, and I'll tell you why. But I'm gonna start with
Mm-hmm.
a short story. So I was watching some content 2 days ago. A young lady was talking about being chosen to take part in this Women in STEM program at a top university. They were bringing in leaders from all these different countries. And the first day they got to orientation, and she sat down and listened to six men talk for 2 hours about STEM. And she got up and she asked them, and she said to them, I appreciate everything you said. You were very informative. You guys are obviously knowledgeable in the field, but were there not any women that could address us? And I think that's one of the big shortcomings in corporations and their diversity and inclusion, especially women's empowerment efforts, that they don't have the right people giving the message. And, there needs to be more women included in the conversation. There's corporations have big DEI budgets, and they sponsor women's coalitions and empowerment movements. And when you take a look at their website and their leaders or their board of directors, there are no women, there are no minorities on it. So are you really living what you're preaching? So I think that
Mm-hmm.
corporations need to be more cognizant of that, and to be mirror images of the ideals and values that they preach to the world. If you're a diverse company, if you foster inclusion, make sure that they're women that are in positions of leadership. Another example even is in sustainability. You have, or not sustainability, but inclusion as well. The 15% pledge that these major retailers have taken to devote 15% of their shelf space to minority designers. That's all well and good,
Mm-hmm.
but it doesn't take into the account the fact that most minority designers are small businesses, and as a small business, they don't have the capital to produce the number of pieces that would be needed to go into these stores, because most of these stores only order on invoice, which means they pay you after they sell. And so as a small business, they can't afford to be in those spaces. So you have these spaces that are open for them, but they're not being able to utilize them. So I think that there needs to be more attention paid to little barriers such as those. Like, they're great big overall efforts, but there needs to be more minute efforts to get to those big efforts. And I think also corporations and entities and companies, they need to adopt what medicine has adopted recently, which is cultural competency.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, it's not one size fits all, as we said. Like, what empowers women here in the U.S. is not going to be what empowers women in South Sudan. You know, and a lot of times, especially when you look at places like Africa and Asia, you're not only combating gender issues, you're really combating cultural issues and societal issues, because they have gender norms that have been in place for centuries. And so you have to be able to empower people to think outside of those. And I think that people kind of come in with an overall effort. Oh, well, we'll give 100 women jobs, or we'll do a basketball camp, and that'll help the people. And I think that that is it's great, but it's kind of small minded thinking, that there are bigger changes that we need, and sometimes they take place on the cultural level, and it's not just about donating $100,000 here or $1 million here. It's about really getting in on the ground, working with organizations and teaching them. um, those little things. And I don't want to say teach because I'm not an imperialist or but I'm not trying to you know do missionary work to change people's beliefs or thoughts like that. But there are certain baseline norms that I think that we can kind of facilitate into other cultures through corporations like Coca-Cola, S.E. Johnson, Amazon, that are global kinds of organizations. So
This is also where media and entertainment can play a major role, helping to change behavior and mindset through the right communication, images, and whatever we choose to share with the public and ourselves. Even storytelling can make really major
I,
changes, right? When it comes to
I'm a big
uh,
believer in storytelling. I think storytelling is what it inspires people. It makes them go back to your page and read and learn, or they hear your story. Now they want to know, well, what else is going on? So now they go and do their research because there's power and experience. And so, yes, absolutely, I agree with you on that.
so talking about entertainment. I know, Maya, that there is a something called MayaPapaya Entertainment, right? And
Yes.
so I want our audience to understand what kind of services it offers, and if you had to compare your business strategy for Maya Papaya Entertainment to a famous sports player, which one would it be and why? And do you think it would make
Okay. So
um,
twofold.
for
So
an interesting highlight
yeah.
reel?
So, Maya Papaya is my sports marketing and entertainment company. I've kind of taken it over. It was started by my mom many, many years ago. Like you mentioned, she's a former attorney, but she always wanted to be a sports agent. So she happened to marry my dad, who was in sports. So she kind of took on, the role of an agent, marketing agent, PR person for not only him, but a whole bunch of the other players that were his counterparts. Julius Irving, of course, the other guys that played with him, Bill Bradley and Walt Frazier. And many many people throughout the years. And it is in the past couple of years as I've moved into this sports marketing field, I've taken over my namesake company, and we've kind of pivoted a little bit in its purpose and what it does, but the overall goals are still the same: to empower athletes beyond the court. But what we now do, we do marketing through activations. But like I said, I always tell people one of my biggest attributes is that I know pretty much everybody, and everybody that I don't know, I'm not afraid to call. Like, all people can do is not pick up the phone. So I'm a people connector. So what I've done is I've partnered with a number of NGOs and corporations who do social impact work here and overseas, globally, including United to Beat Malaria Foundation, an organization called NABU, which is a literacy, global literacy organization that creates books in mother tongue languages. Um, I work with organization called Baxa Equity, that is the creator of the first radiation free, pain free breast cancer screening, which
Ooh.
actually I don't have one with me, but comparably is about the size of a mouse. So my goal with that
Mm.
organization is to bring them into third world countries because it's something that you can put in a backpack and take up the Andes and screen a village. We go through breast cancer awareness. We have also literacy through an organization called NABU, and we are really, really focused on malaria education through the United to Beat Malaria Foundation, which I got involved with. They were formerly called Nothing But Nets, and were originally inspired by an article that was written by a Sports Illustrated writer. So, coming full circle back to the sports theme and background. So yeah, my goals are to be able to connect organizations through my personal connections. I always say that one of my biggest attributes is that I know everybody, and
Mm.
everybody that I don't know, I'll call because I'm not afraid to call people. All they can do is just not answer. So those are some of the organizations that I've been working with. And then here locally, in New York City, here, those are like the global kinds of organizations. But here locally, I'm very involved with a nonprofit called House. Soaring Grounds is a youth basketball organization, but we are full service kind of. We do a little bit of everything. We have a STEM program there as well, a mentorship for kids. And as a mom, it was really important for me to be able to get involved with and help steer an organization that made activities affordable for kids. Because one of the main things is living here in New York, there's 10,000 activities. You can go and do anything that you want to do, break dancing, pogo stick jumping, but for a lot of families, the cost of inclusion is out of reach.
Mm.
And so with our
Mm.
program, we really have been self funded thus far. We have not gotten any funds. And we're actually in the process of trying to purchase a facility, which is the old Jackie Robinson YMCA. It's a New York historical landmark. And we really want to keep the building for the community and have a space where we can not only have youth, but we also have a large number of senior citizens that live in the building. So to be able to offer programming for them as well. One of those programs we started was called a Smart Technology Program, and basically it uh, tapped the youth to work with older people to learn computer skills and really how to use their smartphones. Because those are two small things, but in this day and age, if you can't fill out a form. If you can't,
Right.
you can't. So, but not only that, it offers an opportunity to kind of foster understanding and communication between them, and just that
I
neighborhood
mean, your
feel. You
business
see
strategy
somebody,
sounds amazing.
yeah. I do the things that I love and that inspire me. And I'm not gonna say I'm at the top of my field in any one of these areas, but I'm working on it. I'm gonna get there soon. So
You know, Maya, you just mentioned the break dancing, and this year, for the first time, break dancing is part of the Olympics as a sport, as a
I did
dance.
not know that.
Isn't that amazing?
I
Yeah.
did not know that. So you
So,
asked me a second part real quick.
yes,
So
it's
sorry, I don't mean
incredible.
to interrupt you. So I would compare myself, and this is a little shameful plug here as well. So my move would be the spin move. So, and if you don't know, or if people don't know, that it was the move that my dad kind of invented.
I read something about it. Can you share with us? Can you, in words, try to describe the move of our Papa?
Well,
Because I
I
know
say
he became
a
very
spin
famous
move is
also because
really
of that.
just headed, and so I'll compare it to myself and my work. We have one goal that's headed straight in front of us. We're taking one path, but sometimes you got to reverse direction and go another way, and but eventually you end up at the same destination. So that's how I'll compare it to what I do. But you'll have to
I love
Google
it.
Earl Monroe spin move.
Yes, we will. Maya, Maya, I have other three questions. I hope you can share with me a little bit more, spend with me a teeny bit more time. And these
Absolutely.
are three questions I ask to all my guests, and they're related to the past, the present, and the future. Okay, so I always start by saying, once upon a time. And
Once
since you are a
upon.
good storytelling, I'm sure that you are going to share with us a very nice once upon a time. Your mother started, we said, MayaPapaya Entertainment, and you took it over in an industry, in my view, that where virtually no women and certainly no minority women on the business side of sports and entertainment could succeed. And yet, she was a determined, resilient, and stubborn enough and brave, I would say. to give it a try,
Mhm.
and she succeeded. And now you're carrying on this legacy. So, how do you think her pioneering spirit and determination have shaped your approach to your career and the projects you undertake and you are undertaking today?
So they've been very impactful in shaping everything that I do, obviously, as any mother would be in general, but especially in business because um, I've seen her fall, but I've always seen her get back up. And that's been the most important thing for myself because uh, there have been a lot of doors that have been closed on me. You know,
Hmm.
I call people all the time and they don't call me back or they don't return my emails, and that's why I truly appreciate you. You know, we met and have always been so gracious and encouraging and open to me. But you know, so I think that she instilled in me, or watching her instilled in me, the perseverance, and that you're going to have obstacles and you're
Hmm.
going to have people that stand in your way and you're going to have people that don't want you to succeed, especially coming from a place where uh, we are kind of intertwined on a personal level into the business that we work within. So I say that to say that because of my dad playing, you know, there are um, you know, other things that go on, you know. So my dad has relationships that are based on playing, and then to try and intertwine those with business relationships, sometimes it can get a little murky, the waters. But most importantly, I believe that she's taught me that everybody deserves a seat at the table. I'll tell you, she's definitely a rabble rouser. Uh,
Hmm.
she's if something is not right, she's gonna let you know it, and that's something that I've definitely picked up. And sometimes I guess in business I can be a little bit too like that, but I believe my beliefs are my beliefs, and I don't compromise them. So if it costs me a
Hmm.
deal or a business, there'll be something better, and and you weren't the correct partner. So I really am that there's always time to reinvent yourself. So my mother was a civil rights pioneer and an attorney, and now she's grandma extraordinaire and things of those natures. So there's never an end point. There's always time to reinvent yourself. So those are the things that she taught me.
So, indeed, so, Maya, after having shared with me about once upon a time, the past, and how your parents influenced, if you wish, your career,
Yeah.
now I would like to talk about Maya in the present time. So, Maya, considering your diverse initiatives from the Players Helping Players Healthcare Initiative to the development of Brooklyn's first worker owner unionized co op, what impact do you see your work is having on the communities you serve right now, and particularly in terms of youth education and community development, since you mentioned them earlier on?
Absolutely. So, my current impact is based in, I would say, helping develop this facility here in New York City, and really taking the motto of the Earl Monroe Academy Global, which is a book and a ball can change the world. And there are so many connections between books and balls, and not just basketballs. Like we they meant basketball, but you know, you can attribute that to any ball. You know, sports and inclusion in sports offer kids opportunities beyond their imagination and beyond the world that they already know and see fit, through educational opportunities, opportunities to play abroad, and just to change the circumstances that they're from. And same with books. Not only do they provide you with the knowledge and education that you need to succeed, for many of these kids, books and participation in sports are those brief moments in their day where they have the opportunity to escape their current reality. And
Mhm.
that's my most important mission, other than being a mom. right now. So I think those are the two things. So to really, really delve headfirst into my community here and be able to leave a lasting impact in the form of a facility that is a community facility that's affordable for the general population to utilize on a continual basis, and then to help expand worldwide that notion of a book and a ball. So coupling sports and education globally. Yes.
So, Maya, if someone wants to contact you, either because they needs a support or wants to support you, how can they get in touch with you?
The best way to contact me would be via LinkedIn uh, or Instagram. I am on Instagram. You're welcome to follow me at Laker, LakerGirl 823. Or, I'm sure Daniela would be happy to include my email in the show description. And please feel free to reach out to me about anything, whether it be work, um, somebody that you're looking to meet or introduce. I always aim to be a people connector and a connector of causes and organizations. So, especially here in New York City. So please feel free to reach out.
Lovely. So now we move to the future. You also mentioned the fact you're a mother. So I'm sure that you would like to see a great future for your son
Yeah,
once he's older, right? So Maya,
absolutely.
let's imagine that you were 20 years old. I mean, you are 20 years old, but imagine that you are going to be 20 years old also in 2071. So, what kind of world would you hope to find, especially in terms of global sports management, youth education, and also the integration of technologies in sports?
So, absolutely. I would love to see, again, and I hate to keep repeating myself, but of course, we want to see women, minorities at the heads of a lot of these corporations and as owners of sports teams. There are very, very, very few minority owners in the major American leagues here. You've seen some of the athletes like LeBron James, they've invested in some football clubs internationally, but I'm trying to believe. Well, Magic Johnson, he has a portion of uh, the Commodores, the New Washington football team. But other than that, look, I would love to see a black woman own a major American sports team.
So, more
That's
women,
definitely more
more
women
women in leadership
and
positions in the
people of
sport
color.
industry. Yes.
Absolutely. And also, then when you move on the other side to able bodied people versus handicap, I definitely would like to see more interaction. The Canadians, they have an open league where they mix able bodied people and wheelchair bound people and allow them to play together. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something that is a very novel idea. And we've actually, I do work with an organization called the Rolling Fury here in New York. It's the only
Mm-hmm.
wheelchair basketball in the tri-state area. So we've held a few reverse integrative clinics in the
Mm-hmm.
parks here. And the head of the organization is actually the head of accessibility for New York City parks. So we plan to do a lot more of that as well because I think that that's important. So for 2071, we want to see a mixture of people on the court together or on the playing field together in various capacities. And we want to see those same people as the leaders and heads of major sports organizations, regular corporations as well, and sports leagues. So,
I share your dream, and dreams can become a reality. Illusions, no, but dreams can. So let's dream together. And before we end this delightful conversation,
yeah.
I would like to ask you to ask yourself a question, and what kind of answer you would give to the question you're asking to yourself.
So the question I would ask is, how do I pass the torch, or how do I inspire someone to do these same things? And one is to lead by example. So
Mhm.
to actually be on the ground and doing these things is successful. and the other portion of it is to be a mentor, to find like-minded people who are interested, maybe that don't have the same opportunities or aren't, or maybe not have the same skill set, and inspire them, teach them, and help them. And in doing that, help myself to further what I'm already doing. So
Maya, I thank you so much for this conversation we had about sports and fairness and businesses and entertainment and also community development all together to make a better world. I thank you so much, Maya, and I wish you
thank
all the best.
thank you, Daniela, and I want to thank you as well for being just what I just mentioned to me, a mentor and an inspiration, and showing me the way. And thank you for having me on. It's been an honor.
Okay. Ciao, ciao. Thank you.
Ciao, ciao. Take care.
As I wrap up this episode, my heartfelt gratitude to today's guest and to all of you. Join me for the next episode as we delve deeper with special guests, uncovering thought-provoking insights and actionable steps, paving the way for a brighter, inclusive, sustainable tomorrow. Thanks also to Damian Morton, music, and Maria Cortez Galliano, social media. Don't miss out next episode on shaping the future we aspire to. Ciao, ciao!